I've been given. Like,
Didn't even tell me we're live, people. I didn't even hear the theme music. But anyways, nonetheless, people, you know, as usual, I'm happy to be here. People, Deluded, I'm back again. First things first, thank you very much for tuning back in each and every time. I hope you lot are all having a great start to the week, you know, moving that much closer to your goals, hopes, dreams, aspirations, and ambitions, overcoming hardship. Can't do any of that without health. So as I always say, wishing you lot the best of health in all aspects, you know, mentally, financially, physically, you know, all of these sort of things. We haven't got our health, then we're dead in it in some capacity, and we're not the best people we can be in our personal and private life. So yeah, hope you all had a fantastic weekend. Definitely Arsenal fans, because we got 3 points again. You know, fair enough, it's not away from home, it's not a big game and whatnot, respectfully to Southampton, but they've never beaten us at home, and at least for this season that curse continues really and truly. So it's been a good week. It's been a good weekend. Hope you all had a good weekend, not just from a footballing perspective, but your own lives. And I hope you're ready, as I said, to eagerly take on this week. Now, obviously, the only reason to kind of be here is to speak about Aubameyang. I'm going to offer my opinions on him, or just read the Athletics article first things first. Away from all of that, I think people in the poll want him stripped more because he's washed, rather than him doing anything that bad. And obviously, you know, if he was in better form, you know, when Aubameyang was in great form and we was begging this man to stay, not a single soul said he was a poor captain. They all said, oh, you know, fantastic attitude. He's playing with integrity. You know, despite the fact that his future is speculated, he's still playing well. Fair enough. He doesn't have to be, you know, the captain like the Tierneys and Ramsdales, which they weren't here at the time, but we saying, he's one of them who leads by example. All of a sudden, you know, them things have changed. I'm not saying people were right or wrong to say this, but it just feels like it is mixed with his form, and it feels like to a degree his form has nothing to do whether he's the captain or not. Well, obviously it does, but it doesn't. You know, win, lose, draw, loss, or bad form, you're the captain because people believe in you and the talisman. Now, Aubameyang probably is not the captain I want to see, is not the captain that I would look at, but he is the captain. I don't think he should necessarily lose it, but saying that, I think he should. And obviously, for me, it's about setting precedences. You know, it just feels like these experienced players, these are the guys bringing the headlines. It's not the young player. Fair enough, we had Matteo Guendouzi, but with respect to that, it's the experienced players making headlines at this club, other than putting in good performances. Not all the time is it bad attitude, but you've got Aubameyang carrying on how he's carrying on. Xhaka has told fans to F off, whether fans were right or wrong. You know, it is what it is. These are two senior figures. You know, I wouldn't give it to Partey because he doesn't seem like he believes in himself. If you don't believe in yourself, you can't lead any team. So at this moment in time, it's a myth. For me, there's only really, if I force it, there is probably about, I would say, 5 captains at all aspects of this club, whether they're regulars or not. I would say there's probably 5 people I look at as potential captains. There's only 2, maybe. Hit the like button if you haven't. I think for me anyways, there's only really 2, maybe 3. You know, in general, who I feel has a cap, you know, for me, it's only Tierney or Ramsdale. It's one of the 2 in it. I don't, you know, I like Gabriel. I think Gabriel could do it, but I just think it's them 2. You lot are the guys for me, and I'm more leaning towards Ramsdale, if I'm honest with you. Even though, but then saying that, I'm leaning more towards more Tierney. I do think Gabriel, depending on his level of English, could grab that. I think Ben White in time could grab that. Holding his assignment at this club, but you know, I do think he's a big character, and you know, it's reflected with Lacazette giving him the armband despite never playing. I've kind of just given the reasons, but you know, and I know he's not gonna. Again, it tells you where we're at, and it's not my choice, but I do think he has captain's mentality. Granit Xhaka, you know, I'll give it to him. Odegaard's the captain of Norway, and you should be a senior figure for these younger players, sort of thing. I don't really believe in Odegaard's kind of with Partey at this moment in time to get the captain's armband. I don't feel we should strip Aubameyang mid-season of the armband, really. I know we've done it, but I don't think we should, you know. And if I'm honest with you, you know, to give him a bit of luxury, he's only human. These are 2 incidences for a man that had the worst attitude in the world. Of course, I'm not condoning it. Of course, I'm not happy with it. Of course, twice, as much as I'm saying it's this only 2 times. There's no coincidence now. This is the second time. 2 different reasons, but it's the second time. And there could be many other reasons behind the scenes. Him and Arteta have a rocky relationship. But yeah, man. I'll get into the article, but you lot are saying some interesting points. At least he's a cool captain. The curse of Arsenal's captains continue. Harsh. Even with the previous drama, I'd give it to Xhaka. I think it's Arteta's fault why he hasn't been the best. He shouldn't be captain, though. I think it's a bit mixture of both. You've got to take accountability for your poor form. No, we're not creating chances, but some of the chances Aubameyang's missing, some of his performances, I don't really feel it's relevant to the system or the manager or chance creation. You're just playing terrible. Like, for me, the worst game from him this season. Who was it? It weren't Newcastle. Was it Watford? Where he's missed the penalty and then he's trying to steal Odegaard's goal. That's for me. It was just terrible. He's just screaming desperation, really, to get on the score sheet to the point where you're harming the team, man. Greetings, DG. Xhaka is the right man, but in the wrong place. Aubameyang should have never been appointed captain. He isn't a leader. Bit harsh to say he's not a leader, and was given it under trying circumstances. However, stripping him now is giving the wrong message that will hurt us more than help. Fair play. I feel the captaincy is weighing too heavily on him and ultimately affecting his game. Just my thoughts. Ed Weezy, you're not wrong, but when it was going right, no one said this. Is it, he's got a weight on his shoulders. What if you remove the captaincy? He scored 20 goals, maybe he could get 30. I'm not saying you're wrong. I just feel according to form and sentiment, how these things change. People, please make sure you're hitting the like button. Tomorrow we're going to be previewing Arsenal versus West Ham. On Wednesday, we'll be doing a watch along of such. I'm also going to be live today at 4 p.m. on Twitch. You can see all the information in the pinned message. But in terms of shameless promotion, here you go. First things first, even if you can't be there, hit the like button. It does a lot for the engagement. That's the first one. That's our watch along on Wednesday. We're working backwards. Tomorrow, again, West Ham versus Arsenal preview. Make sure you're there for that one. I've just posted that one. And obviously, you've got to be following on Twitch to make sure you're obviously here for the other one. So if you give me a second, that's actually the right website, but the wrong link in terms of Twitch. You don't need my street. You don't need the stream key. There'll be a problem there. Nonetheless, here it is, people. Don't forget to take part in the goal, in the poll, people. The same people who begged him to stay at the club are the same who want the captain armband taken away. Human just cannot be trusted. The same mouth that says yes today will say tomorrow. And that's the end. That's the beauty of the beast. That's life. That is football, really and truly. It doesn't matter if you're doing the job, then you can get away with stuff. Obviously, if Aubameyang was I don't know, had 7 to 10 goals on the score sheet for now, was doing his job and was the Aubameyang, people would have a problem, but people would kind of give him a bit of leeway. When you're not in form, and again, for me, I'm the same. When you're not in form and you're in the headlines for the wrong reasons, there's issues. One thing I don't like, though, is rumors. Clearly that rumor, that bullshit of him getting a tattoo as the reason for him being late is wrong. Athletic have come out and said he had got a tattoo, but it has nothing to do with this. So it's not making sense, man. But anyways, quickly going over it, people. If I go back, I'm actually using Google Chrome, so we're gonna have to go on Safari. If I share my screen with you guys, give me a second, folks. Let's put that slightly down there. Oh, that's quite ugly. Let's get this out of the way. Let's get that out of the way. Where's the share screen? Share screen. Screen 2. Here we have it. Hit the like button if you haven't. Good old Athletic. One sec. Sorry, folks, zoomed out too much there. It's looking a bit mad on my screen still, and it's looking a bit mad on your screen. But yeah, man, this is as good as it's going to get for me to be able to read it. Aubameyang and Arteta, the dispute, the trip abroad, and the captaincy. Arsenal's highest paid player has been left out of the squad and asked not to report for training. For fans still aching from the Mesut Ozil saga, it will feel horribly familiar. As you know, due to a disciplinary breach, he sat out of the 3-0 victory against Southampton. Our captain was gone. We've scored 3 goals. Our striker's also scored, and we kept a clean sheet, and we're back to winning ways. Now, just off his form alone, he probably shouldn't have been in the starting 11, let alone the squad. And many fans won't be happy for him being dropped in these circumstances, but probably happy to see the back of him for this game. Now, I won't turn on Aubameyang. I'll always support him. I want him to keep his captaincy, but I don't support Aubameyang past that. I'm an Arsenal fan. You're in the headlines for the wrong reasons. You're playing poorly. We can't carry passengers. And again, for me, the least players can do without going scrolling down, the least you could do is just, if you're not going to be in the headlines for the right reasons, just not be about in it. It's a mazza. I don't think it's necessarily absurd. I think Xhaka is taking it. I feel with Aubameyang, it will set the wrong message because he might be late, he might be misbehaving, he might, he might be doing all of these things, but he's still a valued member of the squad. He's still a good person. He's still got people in the camp. What you don't want to do is start to lose players that hold weight, because you're not going to get rid of him in January. You've kind of peed off Pepe. Lacazette could be. I'm reaching a bit with some, but you've peed off Pepe. Lacazette could be feeling some sort of way with his with not really being in the lineup. There's a couple of other There's a couple of other players that could have rumblings. You add Aubameyang to the mix, and you could lose your players. Now, players should be their own individuals, but it is what it is in that regards, man. Didn't Willian do the same and then play next game? He did go Dubai. All I would say is with Willian, it must be that he reported back in time within the guidelines, which Aubameyang, to cheat a bit, hasn't done. Which again, if they've said people can go on holiday, or go where you're going because there's a compassionate thing, there's a reason behind it. You're allowed to do that, but at the same time, rules are rules. You've got to be able to trust. It's give and take, really and truly. He was left out. The critical incident occurred earlier this week in the wake of the 2-1 victory. I wish it was a victory. In the 2-1 defeat against Everton, Aubameyang sought permission to travel to France. His intention was to visit his mother and bring her back with him to England. When it comes to family matters, Arteta and Arsenal are understanding, as any normal human being would be. In January of this year, as you know, he was granted time off to visit his mother due to the health issues she was dealing with, people. And he also had problems of his own as well. And to be fair to you, I think this is why you shouldn't draw headlines, man. Obviously, I said it at the time, this had to be a family thing. I know he's reported back late at training, but does training or Arsenal Football Club necessarily matter when something's going on with your mother? We'd all probably do the same. I'm not saying it is understandable, but rules are rules. This is defo the reasons. And for all you fucking dickheads that were saying, oh, he's gone and got a tattoo, why don't you lot shut up and wait for things to happen? I think fans could learn a thing. Don't draw conclusions on anything, whether you like a player or not, until facts remain. It's very easy to condemn without the facts. And I'm not saying you can't condemn because fundamentally he was late, but yeah, you lot acting like he's just taking a piss. That's a man's mother. Very few things more importantly than football. You think I will give a fuck about football if my mother's there? Do you think? Come on now. Be a bit sensible. But anyways, he was given time off. This is why you shouldn't draw conclusions on anybody, especially just because you don't like how they're playing or they're a source of frustration. It's been tough. Arteta explained at the time, he wants to be here. He wants to be training. He doesn't miss football matches. He doesn't want to miss football matches. When you see a member of your family suffering and going through a difficult period, it drains you emotionally and you have to be close to them. This time, Aubameyang was granted permission to travel. This is where the problem is now coming, people. He was granted permission to travel to France on Wednesday on one condition, that he returned that night in order to report for training on Thursday. Now, this is where, again, compassion, all of these things. This is where Aubameyang has now made a mistake. I would have done the same thing. I don't think he's necessarily wrong, but there's three sides to every story. There's what he thinks, and what's actually happened. And this is where it's gone wrong. Like I said, compassion is key. But if the club have told you to come back and you've tried to not cheat the game, but you tried to go around it a bit, then this is where the problems are coming from, people. Aubameyang was granted permission to travel to France on Wednesday on the condition that he returned that night in order to report for training on Thursday. Aubameyang did not return on Wednesday. Instead, he caught an early flight on Thursday morning before reporting to London Coley. Sources suggest he was on time for training. Can you be on time for games? But as far as Arsenal were concerned, the problems already happened. And that, Arsenal are allowed to do that. If they've told you to come back at a certain time, you thought, unless something mad's happened, like a flight's been missed or cancelled, then it is what it is. You've reported on time and come around it, but clearly Aubameyang didn't understand properly the ramifications behind, obviously, him needing to be back because there was COVID things. Apparently, the problem was compounded by the confusion regarding the COVID-19 protocols. Hit the like button if you haven't. Aubameyang underwent a test in France prior to returning to the UK and believed that would be sufficient for him to resume training immediately on Thursday. Under current guidance, however, a PCR test is required with isolation until receiving a negative result, precluding you from going anywhere, including a place of work in the meantime. Now, this is where Aubameyang's got it wrong. Some have suggested that the intricacies of the testing implications could have been better communicated to Aubameyang by the club. Since the start of the pandemic, footballers have been operating under a number of different protocols, sometimes even permitted to travel freely thanks to elite sports exemptions. Such an exemption would not of course be applicable when traveling to deal with a personal matter. The club, however, believed the parameters in which Aubameyang's trip was permitted were pretty clear, and he simply failed to meet them, which is true. If they've given you crystal clear guidelines, Aubameyang's not an idiot. For whatever reason, I think this is where the club's right, and that's where they can throw the book at you. I agree a lot from a compassionate point of view in the fact that he's come late, because I wouldn't want to come home. I wouldn't be in no rush to leave. I would listen. You've got to sometimes allow it a bit, and I think he could have been let off, but at the same time, this could have been discipline problems. My problem is with Arteta, really, in the sense of, their relationship. This isn't where Aubameyang's just been late or just messed up, but why has Arteta just dug him out in the press? Why has he got to that? Because he's gone from defending him in his bad form to getting onto him. You could have really it shouldn't have had to come out with the Athletic. You could have just said he's going through personal problems. That's why he's not in the team. Him being subject to discipline issues could have been kept within the club. I know it's difficult to keep these things under wraps, but I think you could have. We don't think there's several players that get fines and all of these things and have bust ups, not just at our club, elsewhere, but it doesn't get leaked. That's where I think Arteta could have done a lot better, because again, it added fuel to the fire. And I think when you look at, I don't think Arteta, I think Aubameyang has to hold his hands up, but I don't think Arteta has dealt with Aubameyang historically good enough in the build up to, when he was suffering with problems of his own. He didn't help him. A lot of the time in the press and I'm telling you this on an informed opinion, a lot of the times when Aubameyang was going through certain things and Arteta could have just said it, he never said it, which led to fuel to the fire. There's people that just want to jump on him because his form's poor. Just like with you, Arteta. There's a lot to blame Arteta for. But a lot of fans want to stick daggers in his back for things that have nothing to do with him. I think he's sending out a message. I think he's sending out a statement that no one's above the rules, which is fair play, compassion or not. I don't want to sound insensitive, but if a man's giving you rules and you've not adhered to it as the captain, then you've got to face you've got to face the book. I see a lot of you talking about the Champions League is being done all over again, which is jarring. When is it being done? Because I'm currently watching the Europa League. But anyways, going back to this exactly, people, and this is the problem. There's been many times that Arteta could just come across as a bit more humanly. Aubameyang should lose his captaincy and promptly be sold. That's a very emotional reply, Omar. And then you're not going to be left with any strikers mid-season. It's not making much sense. In his press conference on Friday, Arteta made no mention of any issues with the club captain. When asked if the player was lacking confidence, he said, obviously, when a player is not scoring, it's affecting his confidence, it's affecting the mood and probably the belief. But you have to rebel against this situation. Don't accept it and feel sorry for yourself. Then shortly before kickoff on Saturday, he revealed the issues around this. And I mean, he didn't get the ban on, if he didn't return on Thursday, if he returned on Thursday, then from Wednesday night, we knew that this was a thing. There was more than enough time. You could have said in your press, Aubameyang's missing out due to health issues. You could have just said a man was injured. How many times has a man been injured or has been fined on whatever, and they've said injuries? Some of you are saying 2 o'clock English time. You're saying 10 minutes, Omar. I'm not sure on that one because it's nowhere near 2 o'clock. But anyways, though, away from that, fair enough. He said there was an expectation that the manager would address the situation more fully in his post-match press conference, but when the moment arrived, it would not be drawn. Exactly, and this is where Arteta shows his inexperience, because you could have just called a spade there. You could have said, you know what, rules are rules. He didn't return early on. He didn't return when said so, but it's due to a family reason. Fans could sit there and go, all right, cool. You know what? Rules are rules. Throw the book at the gaffer. But there's a human element. Even some of you have said, even some of you who were harsh on Aubameyang, and we've just seen some comments. Big up M. He said, now that it's come up with the family thing, there's an issue there. There's no issue sort of thing. And there's a human element. Any decent human being will say, all right, cool. You need to hold your fine, but you understand why man would do these things. It weren't this bullshit tattoo business that some of these fans were carrying on with. You lot always talk about not believing everything you read and looking and critiquing, but the minute you see a rumor, you don't even know where you saw that, you just heard it, you're running with it. It's bullshit. And some of you lot need, not just in this, some of the way you lot have carried on against Mikel Arteta, Aubameyang, Odegaard, a lot of these players, a lot of you need to take a long hard look at yourselves, because you're scum. Some of you are scumbags. Really insensitive. But anyways, you know, he revealed that he would be absent due to the disciplinary breach. For some at Arsenal, Saturday's display was a display of strong management from Arteta. I mean, he did this against Spurs. He took a clear, principled stance on the situation and was effectively vindicated by a positive result. I mean, this happened against Spurs last year. All players are expected to meet the same standards of behavior. There are no exceptions made for the captaincy or star status. That's fair enough. That's what you want. For others around the club, the affair was an unnecessary case of airing dirty laundry in the public. If it feels like this kind of incident happens too often at Arsenal, it may be simply because we hear more about it. Exactly. You know, and for me, and this is it. This is where the divisions get split. You know, if for certain people think you've done ways, you know, you might not get an element of trust from your players. If your players don't trust you away from football, you know, man to a man, you're not going to get them playing how you want to play. For you know, there's a lot more to this. You know, and again, if half the people feel you done him dirty and half the people are not, it sums up things. It's like anytime there's a new deal signed at our club, you hear half people involved think he shouldn't have got this, half the people think he did. You know, certain people want Arteta to go, certain people wanted him to stay. You know, even when Emre was going, certain man was saying new contracts. We're never all on the same page. There are disciplinary issues at clubs all over the country, but in most cases, this sanctity of the dressing room is preserved. Arteta was not averse. Arsene Wenger was not averse to. But you know, these don't need to stop using these strong words. Long story short, Wenger used to keep things private, and that's what it should be. Arteta is just using his inexperience, in my opinion. For Aubameyang, maybe cut off the socials because people got 2 and 2 and made 25 like dickheads. You know. Anyways, it would appear that in this instance, Arteta felt that the approach was not appropriate. There are many factors to consider in such a situation. Why lie when the matter might well become public at a later date? But providing a small amount of information without full context also leads to speculation. Facts. A lack of clarity means the nature of Aubameyang's indiscretion is subject to rumor and gossip, which we just spoke about. After a picture of Aubameyang undergoing a tattoo with the Barcelona-based tattoo artist was posted on Instagram, speculation on social media suggested that there may have been a factor in causing Arteta's anger. The Athletic understands the tattoo is of no relevance to the matter at hand. It was a scheduled appointment which took place in London and would have gone ahead regardless of Aubameyang's participation in training with the match. See, he's gone on holiday to get attacked. What do you see? It's in London. I told you, look, when this come out, shut the hell up. You know, go through some of my comments on the last video. Come on, Deluded. What do you think is a personal problem? I'm childish. I'm not going to lie. I barely respond to negative comments, but I'm going to comments and reply to some you were saying. So what's next for Arteta and Aubameyang, their relationship? We know they ain't got the best of relationships, and this isn't going to help things. You know, this is probably going to make it worse. But saying that, this is a player that's only got a year left on his deal, and if Arteta's smart, he's marginalised next year. You know, he's a super sub, rotation option. He gets his goals. We have a decent year. Kumbaya business, fair play, Aubameyang. You know, you've left the club at 33 or however old you'll be. Go do your thing somewhere else. So what next for Arteta and Aubameyang? Their relationship in the 2 years they've been together has certainly had ups and downs. You know, you've seen Aubameyang tweet my manager and all these things. Arteta played a key role in convincing him to sign a new deal. Since then, the player has struggled to show his best form, you know. 10 goals in 29 appearances last season, comfortably his lowest tally in a full season at Arsenal. He only has 4 in 14. As you know, for the same reason, in March 2020, he was left out for the same things. Apparently, The Athletic reported that he had been late on multiple occasions, and the decision to consign him to the bench was made after cumulative offences. The run of mishaps and misdemeanors did not end there. Just 4 weeks later, Aubameyang was hospitalised and 4 kilograms and lost 4 kilos after a bout of malaria. So again, if he does it multiple times, again, this is not good enough. But again, I wouldn't say mishaps and misdemeanors should be in the same sentence, Athletic, with a man getting malaria. What is going on here, man? In the recent weeks, his place in the team has come under scrutiny after returning from a COVID-related absence. He started 12 consecutive league games. However, recent indications that Arteta no longer views him as an automatic pick. Of course, he shouldn't be really and truly, because he's not playing well enough. There are those around Arsenal who will attest to Aubameyang being a popular figure with players and staff, but the opinion is not universally shared. Others feel that even though concessions have been made for him, he has not always told the line. They argue that while Arteta has shown a willingness to bend the rules for Aubameyang, the player still manages to break them. So again, you have to get rid of him past this season. Despite Aubameyang's broad popularity, there are certainly those within the Arsenal camp who question his suitability for the captaincy, and we all do. He was given the role by Unai Emery after Granit Xhaka was stripped of the captaincy following his on-field fallout with the fans, as you know, against Palace. Hit the like button if you haven't. Although influential within the squad, he is not a stereotypical leader, and while accusations about his wider commitment or attitude appear unfounded, punctuality is clearly not a strong point. Trust, but it's man them, man. It's a man them thing. Allow him, man. It's icy free thing. In his own playing career, Arteta captained Arsenal. He was professional to the extreme, but suffered no fools and was not universally liked. Aubameyang is a very different kind of skipper, much more affable, but somewhat less disciplined. Aubameyang is frequently described as a gregarious but emotional character, one that may require particularly managerial sensitivity. Aubameyang has worked with a variety of well-regarded managers. Wenger, who hasn't never said a damn thing about him. We never heard none of this. Klopp, never heard that. Towards the end of Tuchel's, didn't hear it under Emery. Why is it this? With the notable exception of one incident with Tuchel when he was dropped for internal reasons, he has largely enjoyed positive relationships with his coaches. Arteta's man management skills have been called into question before. Aubameyang is not the first player to fall foul of his non-negotiables, these very subjective non-negotiables who only apply to certain players. The very phrase implying a degree of inflexibility is an admirable the principle, but the reality is that the dressing room are comprised of different personalities who need different approaches. Arteta is still at the beginning of his managerial career, and it's inevitable that establishing behavioural boundaries will come via a degree of trial and error. And I think he's learned that, because I do think he's just spent the time gassing up Aubameyang and half of these guys in the press. So I have to see, man. We'll have to see. On the other hand, stripping him of his leadership role could make a key player feel disaffected. Aubameyang is part of a tight dressing room group with Lacazette and Pepe. You know, three players who should, Lacazette, you're not playing, you're not really levels like that historically, but you should all be feeling some sort of way with the guys' management. Given the influence that particularly Aubameyang and Lacazette exert at London Coley, they won't be here. A year from now, Aubameyang's contract be running down and could be a marginalised character. It might be wise to keep them on side in a team with few natural leaders. I think that's unpopular opinion. I think it's harsh. I do think there's leaders there. I just don't think the ones that can lead, they know how to lead yet. And obviously the experienced players are doing bad. There are not too many plausible alternatives to Aubameyang. Perhaps the most obvious choice, Xhaka, has already been stripped of it. Tierney and Lacazette would be other contenders, but neither has had a guaranteed starting place this season. For me, Tierney or Ramsdale, obviously you've got Xhaka, Lacazette that can do a thing. In the absence of Aubameyang, Arsenal produced their most influential attacking performance in weeks against an admittedly poor Southampton side. Nevertheless, if Arsenal are to achieve their goals this season, they will most likely require Aubameyang. Having signed that new contract in 2020, it's difficult to envision an imminent departure. He has 18 months still to run on his deal, and at 32 is no longer the highly sellable asset he once was. One of Arsenal's issues in recent years has been an inability to maximize the value of their assets. Arsenal did not train on Sunday. At the present time, there is no indication of how long Aubameyang's absence will last. Arsenal's next match is against West Ham, but it remains to be seen whether Arteta will consider Aubameyang for selection. There are only 3 league games left before Aubameyang is scheduled to obviously go after AFCON. Not just him, but Pepe, Partey, El Nene, and I feel like I'm missing someone else out. While Arteta has had a projected standoff with players before, such as Ozil and Guendouzi, Aubameyang seems to belong to a different group, those who cycle in and out of favour. Who Arteta handles with both carrot and stick, it is a delicate calculation. Will it see a struggling striker bounce back and return to the score sheet, or will it do unnecessary damage to the morale of a player who has seemingly lost his smile? We'll have to see, people. We'll have to see. Could someone let me know when the Champions League is back on in terms of the group? Make sure you're hitting the like button, people. Baffled. So yeah, let me know your opinions on Aubameyang. That's that in relation to Aubameyang. Like literally, that's it. And I don't think anyone, there's 3 sides. I don't think you can just blame Arteta. I don't think you can just blame Aubameyang. I don't think you can fully say Aubameyang is faultless or Arteta is faultless. What I can say is it's not been handled correctly. For Aubameyang, should have left on time, innit, or should have communicated such. I would have done the same. It is what it is. It's your mum. Who gives a fuck about football if your mum's not doing well, or you're in another country? Pardon my French. For Arteta, I don't think, you know, it's another way where when it was Villarreal, you could have said the reasons because it was known what Aubameyang was going through then. You could have said it. I don't know why it's not necessarily the fact that you're disciplining him. It's how you're going about and how you're communicating it. You got to remember, us as fans, we're not there all the time. So when you're leaving, you know, clarity is key. When you leave airs of doubt or rooms for speculation, as much as I think fans are stupid for harping on that tattoo thing and whatnot, yeah, what can you expect them to do? We're not at the ground. You know, I hope our captain will come back. Do you think Sir Alex Ferguson would have handled it differently? Maybe, you know, I think he would have handled it better as Sir Alex Ferguson, you know. And I'm sure he will tell you there's moments he could have handled talents better. And especially, I'm not saying Aubameyang's a maverick, but if we're to get these players that Arsenal want, you know, guys that can pass a ball 10 million times and dictate the, you know, real Arsenal players, real technical level players, you've got to be able to manage them because half of them have attitude issues. Half of them are a bit mavericky. Half of them are weird. You know, if I just throw some names out, Omri, Cantona, Vieira, Ibrahimovic, you know, even lesser ones like them Shakiris and Tarats when they've been at their clubs. You've got to handle these guys. David Ginola, you know, De Canio, Romario, all of these guys, Neymar, like obviously the ability has to be there, but how you manage them is different. I'm sure I don't advocate one rule for one and 10 million for another, but how someone like you, how you look after, I don't know, Saint Maximin is going to be very different to how you're coming across with someone else. If we're going to get these ballers, man, need to know how to control them. There's certain men that are, you know, that are going to carry on like how Guendouzi carried on, but actually have the ability to chuck it. So what are we going to do then? Man, have to learn to play the game. Wenger wasn't perfect, but there's something he could learn from Wenger. Know when to play the game. Learn certain people's triggers and know how to get the best out of them. And that's something that I feel maybe if Arteta spent a day with a teacher, like a good school teacher, one that really deals with the bad breed kids, it would help. Broski, let's be real. Aubameyang is going to be 33. He was a pacey striker, never a finisher / poacher. He needs to we need to cut our losses. I mean, I'm not for cutting our losses, but you know, you're not going to sell him and get any money. It's probably realistic he runs down this deal. Sign a striker that starts week in, week out. Let him be a sideman, a rotation option, assuming we get back into Europe next season. Europa League's there. Other young players that are making their debuts, he can lead them. He comes off the bench. We have a system that doesn't rely on Aubameyang because currently, right now, you know, Aubameyang's not in it, but the main players are Aubameyang, Xhaka, and half of these experienced players that are scary, really and truly. We've moved some on. So if you can find a system that exists without Aubameyang, we're scoring goals and he can be a squad player, that's what's going to happen. You're not going to make your bread back or you're going to take a loss. I wouldn't agree with he's not a finisher / a poacher. You look at the numbers, you know, pace doesn't mean anything. If pace meant you could be a decent striker, then Theo Walcott would have more respectable numbers and he doesn't have the best of one. So that doesn't necessarily make the most of sense. Also, Arteta has very little clue on how to deal with emotionally driven players. Aubameyang, Guendouzi, Mesut Ozil, Pepe. Bit harsh because he has got to react. He did play Guendouzi. He messed up. He has, you know, Aubameyang's not doing well, but he got something out of him Spurs this season. Mesut Ozil, considering he was your ex-player, I don't know what happened there. And he has probably made Pepe all-rounded. And it just seemed like him and Pepe always turn a corner. And then it reverts back to type. Everyone said Arteta's problem, quality player, drop it. It is time to go. Arteta, he is all right. Not sure what you're saying there, my guy. Apologies, but yeah, man. It is the nature of football. Fans to be emotional. The issue I have is all the Twitter / Instagram warriors have no boundaries. They don't. When football never sleeps. There's always information. Football's always more inclusive now. Social media, players showing personality. You know, it's the nature of the beast. You're just a hater because you're not as good. All I've done is defend Aubameyang. I know I'm not as good as Aubameyang. It could be worse. I could be sat here on YouTube. You could be sat here talking nonsense with your sticky keyboard. You know, really and truly, it's not making sense, Master Yoda. I think you're sniffing the cola. But allow me, man. You guys ain't so different, man. Both hairlines are a myth. You know my hairline's not a myth. You know you're lying, and even then, we're probably not, because me and Aubameyang both probably clip your mother without doing much. Normally I like to take birds out. I like to take them. Listen, the money, I ain't rich, but I like to go central and nice little settings. It's looking like your mom just wants 4 wings and chips. Man might just drill it out in the alley. Coming like Aubameyang. The only difference with me and Aubameyang, he's got the Rari I ate. And how much are the rentals? Allow me, Master Yoda, man. Don't do that. You know me, I'm always charged. I'm always ready. Now you just got people sending for you now. Aubameyang's getting treated unfairly. He's a captain, done a lot for the club. You don't just drop a man. Watch Aubameyang come back on fire. Frank, I hope he does. I wouldn't say he's been. I would say harsh, but I wouldn't say unfairly would be the right word. Emmanuel Dennis, he's an Arsenal fan at Watford. Probably need to poach him, innit? We ain't got no goal scorers. They trade next door to us. Can't we kidnap him while he's driving? Put him in the Emirates. He seems to be quite decent, really and truly. So yeah, he's doing his thing. He's just going from strength to strength, really. What can you say? Really and truly. Can't believe the Champions League draw is going to be drawn again. But obviously, just to add fuel to the fire and speculate, if we look back at 2018. On Aubameyang, at some point you can't tolerate it. Lack of discipline from Aubameyang anymore. I don't know what's going on inside his head. Now, obviously, I've provided no context behind that, because when I saw that tweet retweeted, there was no context. Family comes first. You can only have one mother while she's around. Make sure you're always there for her. Mother, love, trust. Nobby has said, I believe he was sending a message. You're not wrong. But the thing is, what message, Carl? You can send a message. Sometimes it might not deliver, What is the message? And I think for him to really put his marker down, I think he needs to do it when we phased out a lot of these guys. All this, you've got to do it when you've got you've got to do it with the Ramsdales and these new guys, not really these guys, because you can't really chat to them. You can't realistically. I know Xhaka, Aubameyang, and all these guys, they ride for him, but what can about Arteta tell you? Man's not done nothing in the game like that. You can't go for they'll all respect him, they'll all play for him, but they've always got that zero tolerance kind of thing in the back of your head. What Xhaka has been with, certain guys at Switzerland. He's been with managers in Germany. He's been with Wenger. Aubameyang's had what? Klopp, Tuchel, Wenger, all these guys. And then when Wenger, when Arteta's telling you nonsense that these men weren't and these lot were handling things, you're gonna deal with it tough. I would love for us to be able to see how Arteta is on a day-by-day basis, because I don't think he's I don't think he's as aggressive and, puffing out his chest, showing his testosterone as much as people make out. And I don't think he's as a soft touch as people make out. And I think there's pros and cons to that. Aubameyang's probably Arteta route, and this is his way of expressing that, to be fair. Arteta has gotten on the wrong side of many players. William, David Luiz, Guendouzi, Pepe. For David Luiz and William, I'm not sure I can say such, but here's where it is. I'm feeling good, man. I'm feeling good. Appreciate you for asking, man. Fans need to get behind Aubameyang. So what? He has made a mistake. We're all human beings. Fair play. The European Union have agreed to repeat the last 16 draw. Great. It's going to be redrawn at 2 o'clock UK time. That's fantastic, isn't it? So I guess I'm going to go back on Twitch for that at 2 p.m. Why couldn't you just get this bullshit right, man? First time. Hit the like button if you haven't done such already, folks. We're still not at 100 likes. We're at 97. We're just shy of such. Interesting comments regarding Aubameyang. I can't lie, it looked dodgy. There was something going wrong with the balls in it. It was like, I can't remember. I think United weren't drawn in one of the balls where they could have faced a certain opponent. Bruv, European unit. To be fair, it was bugged. Man said, why isn't Arsenal part of the Champions League? Where you been for the last, whatever. Remember, this is how he left Dortmund. Also, we already seeing the same behavior issues Dortmund fans warned us about. I mean, he was late. He needs to hold himself accountable for that. I would hardly say his mother being in problems is something that needs to be warned about. And even if that, I'm not excusing Aubameyang. To us as ignorant fans, we hear little rumblings like the Athletic said there's been times before, but we've actually only heard two incidences. We've actually only heard two confirmed incidences. The build up for that Spurs game last year and now. That's it. So for me, for someone that's meant to be this doom and gloom, if he's helped us win an FA Cup, if he scored a bag of goals, been one of the most successful signings of the Emirates era, if you're real with ourselves, and he's just giving trouble now. I'm not excusing it, but I think you're overdoing it there, Omar, man. Professionalism aside, I don't think majority of the older players rate Arteta body language mainly. I can't read into it, but I somewhat agree with that. Get rid of Aubameyang, peeing me off. What about Tony from Brentford? I mean, Tony needs to show he can score 20 league goals. I defo feel they would have, because there's many examples of Jurgen Klopp and Guardiola showing great human things when players are going through stuff. And I don't think we get here because like them and when you know someone's a dud, you just gonna move a certain way. It's not right, but it is what it is, man. Bro, 4 wings and chips, blood. Allow me, man. And I'm a cunt as well, bro. You think she's gonna get 4 wings and chips? She's gonna, the chips at the bottom. You know the chips at the bottom that don't even get the burger sauce. That's what she's getting. You going mad? I'm taking the wings and chips. You going mad? Fans need. Well, we've already seen that. Can we talk about Tottenham? No. What's there to talk about Tottenham, blood? I know it's off topic, but wasn't it promised that we wouldn't have that last contract problem thing anymore? Now we have it with Laka. To be fair, have we? Have we though? Because the club don't want to give Lacazette a new deal. That's why he's not being offered it. It's like Liverpool with Ox. Things can change, but they're not. They wouldn't get. They don't want to get into this situation. What Salah's got another year to run on his deal, 2 years or something. That's the only contract stuff you hear with Liverpool. So it tells you everything, really. Eddie and Nketiah is the only unpopular opinion. Eddie, out of all the 2023s, the only one that I'm a bit bewildered about is Eddie and Nketiah, purely because whether he's going to make it here or not, that's money. He's an English player, carries that English tax. And obviously, with what's going on with Mikel Arteta saying, I want to keep him and all this, is too little, too late, blood. You should have got him under contract and you can sell all the dreams you want. It's voided, man. Oh, this guy keeps busting the same shit joke. To be fair, yeah, if you don't need it, why not, man? There's no point keeping them big ass cars if you don't need it. Way more rotation and difficult characters. Football aside, how are you though, DG? How are you dealing with the times we're in? Appreciative, man. You know what? Funny enough, I think you lot with Twitch and YouTube probably been the biggest help, man. Because I always think if nothing more, man, is out here talking to people and whatnot. I'm good, man. I'm begun the plan for next year, really. Like, I want 50k subs. I want 10k subs on Twitter. I want to work Twitch. I want to work with brands. Man, there's so much I want to do in it. So yeah, I've been in a bit of a reflective mood, man. This is twice, bro. No excuses. You have a job to do as captain. Sometimes you have to take responsibility, even if his mum had problems. I'm sure if he communicated with the club, they would have been cool. I don't think I hear you, but I don't know when you've dropped in. I don't think you've clearly not listened. Aubameyang clearly hasn't been in the right frame of mind, which is showing in this game. I hear that. A lot of that is that as well. But as much as I'm someone who's got a lot of time for, looking for the deeper intricacies for reasons, I have no doubt that personal problems and all these things play a part, but you're just playing shit. Sometimes it's just that you're just playing shit. You know, Aubameyang's been a dickhead for liking that, innit? Or his agent is, you know. Again, I'm not gonna cry about that. You've liked a tweet by Cristiano Ronaldo about his team winning. Wow. But at the same time, these little things, you know how fans are gonna get. It's not looking good, and it's another sort of mark on your against your name that fans are ready to you come with the result, the receipts. Big up UTW. Do you think COVID will stop football again? Admittedly, if it keeps going on like it's going on in the UK, I think it will. Bro, F1 done Lewis Hamilton yesterday. Dirty. Dirty, dirty, dirty. I wouldn't say I'm looking forward to West Ham either, my guy, but it is what it is. On the topic of West Ham, you know, shameless plug and whatnot, make sure you're all there, man. You know, that's the preview tomorrow. That's the watch along for Wednesday, people. Make sure you're all there. Hit the like button if you haven't. Almost 300 of you locked in. This is crazy. Appreciative. Keep any talking points, questions, etc., rolling in and pouring in, people. You lot make this platform what it is. Let's get that one there in. Sorry, folks. Let me make it. Hey, all now, no timestamp. There we have it. Why can't people just stick to football? I mean, if I don't know the context of that, but if footballers just stuck to football, if people in influential positions in football just didn't use their influence for things after, then it wouldn't be issues. Like if Rashford just stuck to football, kids wouldn't be fed. What's more important, getting 3 points for Man United or you know, a kid having a chance at life? Big up DG. Do we need a loan for any strikers around Europe and go all in for a striker in the summer? I think we need a striker now. I think we need a striker in the summer. Admittedly, if we had to focus on one area, I feel we're weaker in midfield than we are in our attacking options. So I feel you need a midfielder or two. That's just how I look at it. But I'm just an ignorant fan. What do I know? Let me put my phone on charge as well, folks. Crazy one. Appreciate that. Feel your words recently about these waves of form. Can see us winning against West Ham doesn't change a thing. Tony or Watkins, both kind of meaty if I'm honest with you, but I think Watkins will get more goals. But I in my team, I would have more of a use of a Tony, if that makes sense. I enjoyed the Southampton second half. What were some of the things that were troubling you in that game? Well, again, that sets me up because I actually didn't review the game from a technical point of view. I would say basically, you know, there's really nothing wrong with the Southampton game beyond everything we already know. We know that Arsenal, you know, we know the problems that we have. We know that we can beat up these teams that are in bad form and at home. Beating Everton wouldn't have been it, but you know, I look at Goodison Park. We ain't gone nowhere where we're like, as a fan, we're looking at in August and saying you need to put in the shift and you know, pulled up any trees. We beat Southampton, you know, 3 points, clean sheet, good performance, good quality of goals. It's from the set piece that is actually as good as the two well-worked goals we scored prior because that's a result of the training ground. And as a fan, all I want to do is see things that look like the result of the training ground. Where I would say the bad thing is still not playing well for 90 minutes, you know, where I don't know. It looked a bit like we were feeling sorry for ourselves still after getting beaten up against Everton and, you know, losing against United. And I feel it was almost borderline unacceptable. Like we were in our own first 20 minutes, literally until we scored. I think we were camped in our own half. They had 10 men in our box, in our half, sorry. They were camped on the edge. We were camped on the edge of our box. You know, the quality of the pass initially weren't there. People are struggling 5-yard passes. We're giving it away cheaply. First touches ain't quite there. We didn't look like we was in it. And Southampton looked like they might just take it. You know, we're giving set pieces away to James Ward-Prowse, which is an issue. Literally minute 20/21 when Lacazette scored, things got flipped on its head in it. That was a fantastic, you know, Fantastic move. You know, again, I was meant to speak about this on Sunday, but I still got the tabs up. It was a fantastic move, and it's not to scale, but obviously, you know, let's put some respect on Ramsdale. He's the only one that ain't got his name there. So yeah, you know, it was a good move from I can't remember everything that happened, but it went from Ramsdale to White. Somehow it's ended up with Partey. If I remember correctly, you know, it's gone to Tomiyasu. Tomiyasu's giving it to Odegaard. Odegaard's giving it to an on-rushing Saka. And then we've all, obviously, naturally, we've started progressing up the field. Lacazette's made the run, but he's held his run and no one's picked him up. Martinelli the same. Obviously, the defense has dropped back a bit. You know, don't worry, there is no goalie. He's going to be there. He's ran off in it. And then obviously you had their goalie. Let's just make him red. No, that's dead. You know, you had their goalie. Eventually, it's there with Saka. Saka's done the cutback business, and eventually Lacazette's got onto that 1-0. Fantastic move. You know, double figures for passing, front to back. My only problem is we're seeing this twice a game, 3 times a game. Even when we don't score, this should be happening many times. You know, this tells me we're working it on training, but Arteta doesn't put this at his maybe this isn't at the forefront of his coaching. Maybe the players don't trust themselves and they need too many things to go right before they attempt it. Maybe Arteta isn't conveying his trust enough. Maybe he doesn't trust them. Maybe this is part of the game plan, which I don't agree with. But these are the sort of moves we need to put together. When we lost to United and Everton and Liverpool, there were these things done on occasion. Again, you don't get points for doing it on occasion. It was done on only an occasion, but you get the point, people. Away from that, you know, the second goal is also a good thing of beauty. Again, there's many things that happen. There's many more men involved in relation to the play, people. But if you lot remember, initially starts outside, it goes to Martinelli. Martinelli's played it to the eventual goal scorer, Martin Odegaard. It's gone to Saka. I don't think Saka put the ball in. Saka's attempted to, and he's realized he's under trouble, under pressure. He's cut back. Tomiyasu again, naturally, you know, these are not real life footballers. They're staying still. Obviously, as the game's progressing, people are dropping deeper and deeper, and all of these sort of things. If I remember correctly, Teller, I'll just put Teller. He doesn't. It's not his fault, but he doesn't read the run of Odegaard. Odegaard's made that run. Odegaard's made a run off him. He's not aware of it. And by then it's too late. You can't afford that. Obviously, in real time, you know, Tomiyasu's put a ball into the box. In real time, the man them are there as well. You know, Tierney's obviously looks a bit offside here, but Tierney's there. He's headed it a lot. Tomiyasu, not you. He's headed it back across. Obviously, Odegaard's done the rest, and it's all become. It's became why it's happened because of passing and moving. People are moving off the ball. Odegaard, the goal he scored and the goal that we actually scored, he's played a good role. He's played a key part in the goal he has scored just by passing and moving, and we're playing with confidence. Tomiyasu, fantastic game. Tierney, fantastic game. Seeing my fullbacks bomb forward. And what I like about Tomiyasu, happy birthday, Santi Cazorla. Hit the like button for Santi's birthday, people. What I like about Tomiyasu, he's never going to become a Japanese Dani Alves. He's never going to be the best in the world going forward. But he clearly knows that, okay, to go to the next level, I need to improve. And what I like as well is that based on that game and a couple of others, Arteta has clocked. The fullbacks need to go forward. You can't do this if we put this centre-back thing, doing this bullshit back three, pardon my French, and then just Saka by himself. And until Tomiyasu overlaps or underlaps effectively like he's been doing, you're not going to see the best out of Saka or Joe Bloggs who plays on that wings, or you're not even going to see the best out of Tomiyasu. You know, the relationships need to be built among this pitch now. And they're the only things of note, really. We scored some good goals, obviously, from a set piece as well. We work on set pieces. We've been scoring them this season. The only things I would say is play well for the whole 90, because on another day, Southampton scored 2-3 goals in the first 20, and then we talk about, what happened there? End of the day, it's nice to take points. West Ham dropped points. All the others won. We've got them in the week on Wednesday. So we got a bit of insurance, but they're the only bad things. Can we play well for 90 minutes? Can we start and finish games well? Because we'll start well, not necessarily finish well. We'll finish strong, but we started poor. We'll start poor and then finish strong. And you can't do that in football. You can't, you respectfully, there was a lot in that game you'll get away with against Southampton, just like against Norwich, just like against Newcastle, just like against Watford, just like against an under-hit Villa, just like Norwich, if I haven't said it. These things are only going to be marginalized when you're playing teams where you either need to win or teams that don't give you that. So there's a lot to work on. I do think maybe this poor start there was a lot of we were feeling sorry for ourselves, but that's a theme of our game. So I can't say it's necessarily us feeling sorry for ourselves. It's probably more so down to just doing poor things and making poor decisions. review. There's that. Make sure you're following and doing all those things. The first goal looked like it was going to fall apart multiple times as we played out on the right. I think that's a bit harsh. It was good to see us keep pushing forward after going a goal up. Trust, Odegaard had spoken about that and said, you know what, we need to do a lot more of that. Anytime I remember that Donny from Sky Sports chatting ish about Tomiyasu, I feel vexed. To be fair, bro, this is it. Man was saying he don't look like a centre half or a right back. The man looks like both. And this is what I always say. I don't care about these journalists' opinions. He looks like a dickhead now. But I would say, was them man there, their goals are not to say right things. Their goal is to get engagement. When you mention Arsenal, positively or negatively, and let's have it right, there's been more negatives in the last few years than there's been positives. Man, they're going to chat. If he signed for another team, they wouldn't have said that BS. I'd love Vlahovic, probably a movie. Get Sterling and Zaha, you'll live in a movie. And this is how I feel. Aubameyang shouldn't have been given the skipper to begin with, but I think it was a play to get him to stay. Tierney skipper, Gabriel vice skipper. DG, how much rotation are we likely to see this month? Will it be enforced rotation? I mean, I don't know. The games are coming thick and fast. You would say you probably have to rotate a fair few amount because you've got 2 games this week. You've got the semi-final to come. You were playing on Boxing Day. We're playing on the 1st or 2nd of January. Well, I'm sure it's the 1st against City. So games are coming thick and fast. Certain players are not fully fit. Certain players are probably a bit fatigued. There is going to be rotation. And even on the face of it, you are seeing little bits and pieces. Like what? Right now, maybe not so much due to the need to rotate, but do you go Smith Rowe or Odegaard? Do you drop one out? Do you keep playing Martinelli? Or Lacazette's complicating things. Do you drop Saka and give Pepe some minutes? Or do you drop Saka, put Pepe or put Martinelli over there? You get Smith Rowe in off the flanks and you keep Odegaard? Or do you drop Odegaard and keep Martinelli and Saka? There's some good problems to be having right now concerning the football club. Pardon me if I'm completely honest with you guys. Away from all of that, though, there are a couple of bit of transfer news. Khayywoon Edwards, Saliba. Now, obviously, young Khayywoon Edwards apparently stalling over signing a new deal. Now, obviously, it's bitterly disappointing to hear that as an Arsenal fan. For me, I don't begrudge him because the dynamics could change completely in a year. But at 18, you need to think about where's the next step. And he's someone that I felt would have been playing a lot more at 23's level and called up as he was initially. But, you've got Mika Beref and Balogun. Now, I'd imagine this time next year, Balogun's not playing 23s. He either goes on another loan or he's doing his thing for Arsenal's first team. Mika Beref, I'd be very surprised if he doesn't go on loan. And if I was him and I cared about my development, I'd be going on loan. People like Moller probably going to go out on loan designed to put themselves in the shop window again. So there could be a lot of, when I say first team, I mean under 23s football for Khayywoon. But when I look at that, when I look at the fact of this year, you've got all of the things I've just said. You've still got Laka and Aubameyang's contract stuff. You've got Balogun and Eddie. I can't begrudge him for stalling because you want to see the club's path for you at 18 years of age. He's in the final year of his scholarship. He's rejected deals. Obviously, Chelsea are looking at him. I think he's had a spell with Chelsea. I'm not too sure going to Chelsea or Leeds is the best thing. Leeds would be very good for your development. You'd probably get 23s, but I'm not sure if you'd make the grade in their first team. They've just signed Sam Greenwood and Joel Gerhardt. He's been linked with Leipzig, and to be fair, a lot of these foreign clubs just see you as a money thing. Chelsea isn't making sense, really and truly. But it makes sense to run down your deal. Now Arsenal stand to lose out. But allegedly, Arsenal are facing a battle to hold on to onto a rising strike starlet Khayywoon Edwards admitted mounting interest from clubs in England and abroad. And the club might be forced to sell him in Jan. Now, he's a very, what I do know, he's a very focused lad. He's got a good attitude. You've all seen my interview with him, and I think he's going far. And again, for a selfish Arsenal fan, I hope he signs a new deal. To all of these young players, I'd say don't let Arsenal gas you. Look, Arsenal gassed Balogun. What's he done? You never got into the FA, and this is the reality. Once I don't blame Arsenal for this. Eddie's ahead of Balogun. We are trying to win a cup. That's why he started. Eddie's played more games. He's going to be ahead of him. Yeah, the club should have given Balogun chances, but when you look through the euphoria of, he's a Haylen boy, the whole social media nonsense, he was never going to play, blood. You know, we're trying to get back to where we was at first team. You was never gonna play. You know, the club's gonna tell you all these things. And I've said once you get to a certain level, 18 to 20, you know, lying is lying. And I don't think the club's gonna lie, but it's in their interest to tell you things. You don't need to take development into your own hand, especially when you lot have probably been here from 6 and 7 years of age. And that's what I think KHAYWON should do. If Arsenal's the best place for you, great. But for me, until clearly they're not showing you something in it. And like you can see here, Gladbach, Leverkusen, looking at him, people doing his thing. He's trained with the first team, but that's not enough. And you know, he's been doing his thing in terms of scoring goals, doing what he needs to do. That's why he's on the lips of a lot of people. Southampton, Brighton, Newcastle, Leeds, a couple of them clubs could make the right choice for you because they're gonna less likely to bring in people. So for me, it makes full sense. It makes full sense, and the club's gonna sign a striker. So you know, you want to see where can you be at 80, at 20. Now again, he's not old nothing, but this is why I like for don't let Arsenal gas you. If you want to stay, it's because you want to stay. Because you will look back a year from there and say, I ain't had the career I've wanted to have, and you can only blame yourself. The club is going to want all of these things. Me as a fan, I want him to stay. Oh, you can make peace for the club if you're not going to make first team. But if I was him, I'd sit on my hands. And it would be a bit of pill to swallow. Away from that, though, Saliba's also been linked to people like with a move. And I'm quite tired of the Saliba thing. If he's staying, stay. If not, not. He said, I prefer not to speak about it. William Saliba snubs question over Arsenal future as defender, refuses to say where he'll be playing his football next season. He's contracted until 2024. Martinelli, Saliba, Saka. Boy. He remained coy. The 20-year-old has made 21 appearances. Again, that's more than you would have got here. And he's still not the finished article. He's had some great games and he's had some clangers. You know, nobody talks about the clangers. Everyone just wants to waffle and wank over the Mbappe tackle. It's not making sense. He refused to reveal where he'll be playing next season after being asked by news outlet RTL. He said, I prefer not to speak about my future, but I am very good here. I don't regret my decision. I've been very happy since day one. I have 1 year here and I'm going to give my all. Fair play. It doesn't go on and say anything, people. Oh, as said here, the club are likely to try offer him a new contract. Boy, if Arsenal are saying iffy stuff, I wouldn't sign a new deal. Apparently, Ben Napier and Eddie went to watch him against PSG. So we'll see, man. I'm quite frankly tired of speaking about the Saliba thing and saying all the same things. If man stay. It's like a lot of these players. I'm tired of the love dramas. If they're stay. Go. Simple as that, man. Getting long now. 135 likes. Keep running that one there up, man. What's the story of Arsenal losing a youngster? I think I've just covered it, unless there's something else. What's your thoughts on Leon commenting on Lacazette's Instagram post? How much do you reckon we can get for him? I don't know what they've said, so I don't know. And in terms of price, not a penny, really. You'd be lucky to get 5 million, 10 million. His contract's up in 6 months. What'll be the point? On top of it, you're going to have to give him a bit wages, decent signing on fee. It's not going to make sense. I've got more worries when the African Cup of Nations starts. We got holes already, but that will lead to more holes. Boy. DG, do you think this is the first time since Jack Wilshere days that Haaland is making a lot of noise in terms of our young talents playing well? No. We need a captain who really wants to play for the badge, someone like Lucas Torreira. I love the sense of humour, man. Sell a few deadweight and get Mbappe. I lay off the FIFA, man. Who's gone up? Again, what? In terms of the AFCON, Pepe, Aubameyang, Partey, El Nene, Aubameyang, Partey, Pepe. I always feel like there's 5, 6 African players. But I think there's actually only 4. I might be missing someone else out. 136 likes, people. Sorry for clapping, but I appreciate everyone who's, you know, from the goodness of your heart, who's hit that like button, man. You didn't have to, and it means a lot, because if you didn't, it'd be a myth. What's going on here? I mean, we can read this. See what's going on here. Man said Rob Holding. Swear down, Rob Holding's from Ghana. Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang's disciplinary breach puts his future in doubt and continues Arsenal captaincy curse. Now, again, do I think this is going to harm his future? The reality is, who is going to buy him? Yeah, there's a reality he could be sold and moved on, but no one's going to buy him. He's 32. You've tied him down to a new long-term deal. Without this sort of misdemeanor, would anything have been said? It's a myth. But the curse is real. But I just think this is a journalist getting 2 and 2 and making 5. But it could be an interesting one. I mean, I hated this man. I hated him as a footballing point of view. I hated how he played, how he conducted himself, the fact that he wore the number 10, the fact that he was the captain. William Gallas is the worst captain to have ever captained the Arsenal Football Club. Apparently, even Lehman said we had learned of his appointment in the papers and we all shook our heads. And I think that's poor from Wenger. Why don't you tell them? Gallas, terrible, man. Pussy or you, bruv. He was clashing with Gilbert. I hope Gilbert told up he did, man. Pussy or you, man. I hated Gallas, man. Anyways, says Fabregas, that's a bit harsh. We just gave him the captaincy to ask him to stay. I don't think Van Persie was a bad captaincy. He was actually a good captain right through to the end. Even when he left, fair enough, it was for United. But he said, listen, the club's doing other things that I'm not on. So apart from him being a pagan, I wouldn't say I had to doubt Van Persie's integrity. The same with Cesc Fabregas's. I think that's a bit harsh. I think they're forcing it. I don't know what Vermaelen seemed to have done apart from being injury prone. Mikel Arteta, he was just basic. But what's supposed to have happened there? Oh, to be fair, it's another one that was blighted by injuries, I guess. Boy. Mertesacker, that's harsh. But yeah, he struggled injury problems. And yeah, we give you the captaincy as somewhat a badge of honor. Xhaka was moving mad when he was captain. Aubameyang, I guess, technically is moving mad right now. So, yeah. It's just 4. I think we've lost joint second most. One other club, can't remember which one, has 6. We paid too much for Partey. Well, he paid his 45 million release clause, or you're not getting him, was the reality. Like, Atletico were not open to negotiations. We've had some meaty players, some meaty captains, a lot of things have been meaty with this football club. But is it meaty or is it normal now? Because if it's been meaty for so long, is it really meaty anymore? Is this the standard? And at what point is that not? It has to go away from being called meaty then, surely. Dookie. I think we're going to see in 20 minutes, you're going to see the Champions League draw again redone, folks. So bear that in mind, whatever you lot are doing. Gallas 100% stunk up the place. 110 million%. Absolute dud. Absolute dud. How can someone cause so much problems? Apparently, Anthony Taylor has been appointed for Arsenal's game against West Ham. Shout out to you, mate. Don't think there's anything else. Apparently, there was technical issues on the conference league draw as well, people. Boy, it's all kicking off. It's all kicking off, man. It's all kicking off. None of it's making sense, man. And again, big organization like you're like UEFA. This is long, man. Bro, look at the way Gallas permed his hair. Is that someone to trust? A centre back wanted to be number 10. Is the warning signs were there? And respectfully, yeah, I don't even want to say this point because you got to be very touchy when you're talking about things like this. But French players are very diplomatic. They're very strong in their opinions. They don't take bullshit. Ginola, Cantona. You saw literally Cantona do the thing on someone. Thierry, Vieira, never scared to say what they feel. Nowhere near in them brackets. But we've had Guendouzi. And I just feel we should have known that with Gallas. He's a dud and he thinks he's right. There's a problem. Side note, but do you think this data-driven era clubs has looking at players like statistics these days? As long as you know, again, some players are doing it, some people are doing it better than others. I think it's a benefit, but you need to know what you're looking for. If you don't know what you're looking for, you're going to be amazed by anything and led down a rabbit hole. If you just use stats, you're going to see players that are good on paper and they're shit, and you might miss what they're like in terms of their personality. Because forgive me if I'm wrong, data might tell you about someone's discipline, but data doesn't tell you the context. Data is not going to tell you, yeah, someone might do it at the Emirates on a sunny day, but what happens if that defender's made a mistake away from home where the 12th man in the crowd is on top of you? How does he react? Is data going to tell you that? And obviously, if you're just using the eyes, you might see there's a good striker, but you might not know his goals are coming via a certain area, or they're very service reliant. And the way your team plays is a myth. So you need to marry the two, Data apparently has led to Xhaka and Renison, for example. So I would implore using eyes. Gabriel or Ben White? Gabriel's better than Ben White at the task of defending. Ben White's better at passing the ball forward and doing all that pretty boy stuff. I mean, the only thing I'll rate about Gallas, I'm sure we beat Chelsea at the Emirates and he scored and he even celebrated. That's the only thing I'll give you a credit for, Gallas. Other than that, dud, man. Absolute dud. Boy. And this is it. Data plus scouting, proper due diligence. Man, I hate Gallas. What ever happened to Christian Atsu? Man was supposed to light up the Premier League a few years back. Fraud, didn't it? Sure, he's a dud. Who is the most realistic signing we can make in January for any position? I wish I knew, bro. I just hope it's some centre mids. We don't sign a centre mid in Jan, then the little faith I have in whatever part of this season can be salvaged. I don't get it. I'm not trying to be negative. It's just every game, even the Southampton game for the large part, it highlights the lack of quality we have in midfield in all aspects. And until that's addressed, among other things, because it's not just that, Arsenal are not going to do serious things or do things of any note. Boy, it's crazy. To be fair, he didn't turf out Colo Torre. City come in for Donny. What are you going to say to that? Can't say nothing, really, if City come in for you. Are we back with the Champions League draw? Yeah, we're back with a Champions League draw. I think I'm going to go back on Twitch for that. Again, I'm live on Twitch at Thingy as well, folks. At 4 p.m. to play Football Manager. Let me slap that all in there. Slap that there. Let's copy and paste that so we can pull it on StreamYard. Gotta balance them out. Do you like boxing? Is your favorite boxer? I'll watch it if it's on. Favorite boxer? I don't have a favorite boxer currently that's doing their thing. I'm fan of AJ, like Fury, big fan of White. Wouldn't say like they're my guys. If anything, it was a Mayweather thing before that, but I wouldn't say that. But yeah, boxing or UFC would be the next thing to go to. What kind of sentiment are we supposed to be looking at? Ball carrier. If you can find another enforcer that can obviously, if Partey gets injured or Lokonga moves iffy, you've got enough one. But I think we need some technical duns, man. Deluded, which Gabriel you keeping, Martinelli or Magalhaes? I mean, it all depends both until further notice, man. I've made my peace in that. I think if Martinelli develops, the big boys are circling for him. Gabriel the same. In fact, I've made peace with both of them that they're gone soon if they develop, man. I'm looking forward to the next transfer windows following from a fantastic recruitment in the summer. I don't know, man. I don't know, man. I wouldn't say it was a fantastic one, but it could have been. At DG, good afternoon and blessings. How's your day so far? You look a bit peed off today. Is everything okay? Love my bro, but it's a bit weird. Calm, bro. What am I meant to be peed off about? Well, if I'm not shouting and moving like this and people, there's nothing wrong. I hear you, but man can't be mellow again. Man can't just be calm. Man can't just be calm. Like, I'm saying I'm peed off. I am peed off. I'm peed off. Everybody, let's remember. Let's all chip in £1. Let's get PS5. Ben White should play CDM. He's good with the ball, not defending. Bit harsh to say he's not good at defending. Does scouting still work? There are few rare gems in the lower leagues that can do a much better job than some of the players we have now let go. Let them go and find Kante, Santi. I don't think they've. I think the problem is we don't act. I think we've, unpopular opinion, I think we've been able to find players. It's just we sit on our hands and then they're gone. You know, again, it's not a days of when Wenger was the only Frenchman in the Premier League and he had the link and no one else knew. Now everybody knows about France, and I would do the same. If Chelsea are looking at a certain player, I'm going to look at that player just because their man are looking. If he's shit, we move on. The same with them. And that's why you need to move. All it takes is Chelsea might get someone. I go over there and say, oh, mate, you know, you play for us, and then it's done. Minor, bro, I appreciate that. You know, very few. It's always who should we sign? Who should we sign? It's never how you do in DG. So I appreciate that, my broski. But yeah, on that note, people, I'm going back to Twitch to cover this Champions League draw, people. I'm going to go live literally at 2 p.m., which is in 11 minutes. So yeah, it is what it is. Everybody chip in. Let's get that PS5, man. What? There's 249. We're half the way there. Let's get that PS5, man. And you lot can get FIFA streaming. I told you, lot, Christmas list, PS5, new Arsenal drip, 65-inch TV, green screen improvements. What else? Arsenal Man City tickets, Valentino's, Giuseppe's, Moncler jacket. The list is crazy. What else do you lot want to know? What else you lot want to know? Last question. Do you think we should give Tavares a go on the wing? It could be an option. Ironically, that's what I wanted to happen against Everton. You know, go free at the back and let him play as a wing back or whatever. He is something that could have done a thing. You know, it is an option. You know, it's probably a better option than Aubameyang out there, you know, and it gives you a lot of diversity, but I'd probably want to try our more natural wingers, if that makes sense. Obviously, people, if you're, you know, if you still want more chat, head over to Twitch. We're going to deal with this mess of a European draw very quickly. Hit the like button if you haven't. In fact, before I let you lot go, you've got to be shameless with promotion. So yeah, as I said, it's a Twitch thing. Make sure you're following and subscribing there. Tomorrow, well, Wednesday, we've got a watch along to deal with, live from 7 p.m. Come on. And then obviously, folks, tomorrow, I guess the biggest question will be, is it Odegaard and Smith Rowe? Is it Odegaard or Smith Rowe? Does Martinelli start or does he get dropped? What happens with Saka? Do you keep Laka? You know, does Ainsley come back in? We'll deal with Arsenal versus West Ham tomorrow, folks. So yeah, make sure you've hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe. Most importantly, make sure you've all stayed safe, people. You know, good health, safety, goals and aspirations. That's all we're trying to do week in, week out. Let's have a strong finish to the end of the year. It's been a pleasure, like it has been a pleasure, you know, to be here day in, day out, week in, week out, month in, month out, all the ins and outs with you guys. So I appreciate you lot's support. On that note, I'm going to keep it moving. You lot stay blessed, stay safe. Peace.
I think it's like